Hey lovely people, welcome back to my channel. We are continuing our kitchen makeover series, which is part of my home decor series. If you haven't already seen the other previous makeover videos, you should check them out. But today, as you already know, if you've seen my last video, I got my new kitchen for free. I'm gonna take it from trash to treasure. First, in order for us to do that, it's time to do some cleaning, because guys, like I said, a lot of these cabinets were outside. They went through a lot. I did everything to those cabinets just to make sure that it was ready for a complete refresh. And guys, and I know you're looking at it, it looked like a pile of rubble, but trust me, I saw a vision. I saw goals. I see my future kitchen, and it looks beautiful, and the light at the end of the tunnel. So you have to bear with me, because the vision was there and no one couldn't tell me differently. I'm super picky, and I know I'm also frugal, but at the same time, I wanted to make sure that I was bringing in something into my home that would last for years. And so I had to put in the labor to actually make sure it's nice and clean, and make sure the foundation was clean, so that way it can be better prepared for what I'm about to do to it, which is paint it and give it the look that I'm looking for. It took us days, and I think it took me a week, if not more, to clean the cabinets the way I wanted. I wanted it to feel like our kitchen. I wanted it to feel brand new. So I cleaned every crevice, every corner, every track, anything, because like I said, some of the cabinets were outside, so I didn't want to have to deal with bugs. I didn't want to have to deal with mud in hidden places, dirt, anything. So I was very thorough. I made sure that the cabinet was sealed so that there wouldn't be any bugs or infestation. You'll see in the pictures, it was work. I used a degreaser to degrease all the cabinets, and I'll show you a picture of that. I used the degreaser just to make sure there was no grease left on the cabinets, because again, this was a previous kitchen in someone else's home. So if they cook, you would have oil splatters on the cabinets. You have all kind of grease that could be adhering to the current paint. Because now I have several cabinets which are more than what I need. So I figured, what am I going to do with this cabinet? How am I going to set up this new kitchen with the current cabinets that was in someone else's house and make it my own and change the layout? As I was telling you in the last video, their kitchen was more like a V kind of kitchen, where it's more like this. Well, I guess you would call it a L-shaped kitchen. And in my kitchen is a galley kitchen. At least that's the look I was looking for. So I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna configure the cabinets in my own way. This is normally where people would hire a contractor or someone who is knowledgeable in designing kitchens, but guess what, I'm saving money and I'm going to figure it out, and I trust my ideas and I trust my vision to make what I want come to play. All I needed to do was just get people to actually put it into place. I got in the kitchen, guys, and if you'll see, I drew out exactly how I wanted my dream kitchen to look like. I drew out where the cabinet's gonna be. I drew out on the back wall where the cabinets were gonna go. I wanted floating shelves, so I wanted to make sure that there were shelves on each side. I even placed where I wanted the stove to be, and I also wanted an island as well. So I figured with the extra pieces of the cabinets that we were getting, I can also add it into the island, because before I did not have an island. If you remember, it was a wall, a flat on wall with a closet on there, and it had some cabinets on there. So once we tore down that wall and that closet and those cabinets that was there, it was just an empty spot. So I'm happy that I got more cabinets than I needed, because that gave me the option to actually add the extra cabinets in the center where the current wall was and where the stove was, to actually make it an island. But here's the thing, when it came time to place all the cabinets together, we realized we were one cabinet short of making the island the size that I wanted. Because if I would have just kept it with exactly the cabinets we were already given, the island would be really small and it would be like a 1-seater or a 2-seater, and no, we it's go big or go home. So I had to figure out how I was gonna make this island the size I wanted. I wanted it to be somewhat proportioned to the back wall where everything was going to be. So I came up with the idea, what if I take my current cabinets, the one that I was going to give away, and add one of those cabinets in the middle discreetly where people wouldn't notice. So if you see in this picture, you will see that I got the small cabinet right here that we had. It was solid, it had no water damage. Trust me, I have a vision and it's gonna work. I measured once, I measured twice, I measured 3 times. I made sure that when I put all these pieces together that it would make sense, not only in my mind, but it also made sense once I put it together. And sure enough, I put the cabinets together. I spent days and nights shifting cabinets around, trying to see which pieces would look best in what places. It was like a puzzle piece. And guys, I mean, the sketch that I have, that made it so much easier. So now it was time to install the cabinets. Now, I wanted to save money. That's, if you didn't already realize, that's the theme, save money. I wanted to save money by having my husband install the cabinets for us. But the more I started to look at the situation, I'm like, you know what, I don't want these cabinets to fall apart. I don't want it to be flimsy, because yes, I want to save money, but if at least I'm going to save this much money on getting the cabinets for free, the least I can do is hire someone to install it. So I got a quote. It was pretty reasonable, and install the cabinet for us professionally, so that way I can sleep in peace knowing that my cabinets are secure and they're not about to fall off the wall. And when they installed it, I was like, yes. And they were like, oh wait, we're gonna put it here. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing a traditional layout. I want some floating shelves, because I did not want a cabinet towards the end where the window was, because then it would look bulky and it would stop light from streaming in, because that cabinet didn't exactly go flush with the wall. It was a little gap. But at the same time, I didn't want floating shelves on one side. I wanted to balance out the kitchen. So I decided to add floating shelves over the sink. If I really had the option, I would have just gone with no top cabinets, because it would have been way more light streaming in, which I thought about it. I slept on it. I'm about to have to resell my home. People might not be happy with the fact that I don't have top cabinets. And not only that, I didn't want to have to regret not having top cabinets in the future if I needed to actually store plates or do more grocery shopping or whatever the reason may be. I didn't want to have to regret it. So I trashed that idea, but it would have been a great one, because it would have looked great for my minimalistic look. But realistically, I had to think smart in the future when we have kids, if we're gonna need that extra space. Guys, at this point, I was totally aware that this can go really wrong or really right. And I was really betting on the fact that it can go really right, because I was trusting that my vision was gonna come together. So I put all my bets on it, everything going right. And thank God I went with that thought process, because it ended up looking really good. They installed it. They left the 2 empty space, because we were gonna install the shelves ourselves, because we're saving money. And yeah, so I just told them install the cabinets, and that was it. They were like, okay, I see 2 gaps here. Looks really odd, but whatever. We got paid and we did the job. And that was all that mattered. So guys, we got our kitchen cabinets up. I got my empty space for my floating shelves. Now what's next? It's time to pick out our paint. It's time to go looking around for door handles, all kinds of options. Now I'm excited because our island cabinets are in place. the substitute cabinet that we have from our old kitchen, which is our souvenir, is in the center. It fit perfectly. I mean, you can't even tell that it was the original kitchen cabinet that was there before, unless you're really nosy, or if I told you. At this point, my husband was like, this is great, we can keep it the way it is, we're not gonna paint it. And I'm like, what? This is not the plan. This is not the plan. Because at this point, my husband is chickening out, and he's like, the cabinets look perfectly nice the way they are. It's a nice quality cabinet. It's custom made. The paint and the finish was in great condition. So he was just very concerned that if we painted it ourselves, that it can either look tacky or look like a homemade job, or just don't turn out well, or they chip, or whatever the reason. And I was listening to his concerns. I was a little concerned too. Don't tell him I said that, but I was really trusting that I can bring this together, and I'm looking to get my cake and eat it too. I want a nice, beautiful, minimalistic kitchen, all white, simple, clean lines. I want my floating shelves, but in order for me to bring that vision together, I need to take risk. At this point, what do you got to lose? If worst case scenario, if you paint it and it don't work out, guess what? You can always strip the paint off. Will I be doing more work for myself? Most likely. But am I willing to bet on myself? Definitely. I've betted on myself before, and today, that day was no different. I was willing to bet on myself for getting the look that I was looking for. So he painfully trusted me. So with that said, we got rid of the other kitchen. Someone came and picked it up. What did we end up doing? We ended up donating that kitchen to someone else. We had Goodwill, I think, pick them up. I don't remember, but that's what we ended up doing. So yeah, we're going paint shopping, guys, and we're going to finally choose the paint we want and the doorknobs we want and everything we need to bring this whole kitchen to code. And if you guys are not already familiar, I always say bring it to code, because I am a very picky person. I love what I love, period. And if it doesn't look how I want it to look, and it doesn't come together how I want it to look, come together, guess what? I'm going to bring it to code. So that's my key, bring it to code. So if you ever hear me say bring it to code, you know what I mean. It's not where I want it to be. It doesn't look how I want it to look, and I'm going to bring it to code on budget and the way I envision it to be. So that's what I did. So if you guys want to see, stay tuned to the next video, guys. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm super excited. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe, like,